How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
All roads lead to Lucknow. First home game for the Super Giants after picking up the points and boosting their confidence against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. That after they had a heartbreaking defeat to the Delhi Capitals. So plenty has already happened for Rishabh Pant's side as he now will receive a home crowd, and the Punjab Kings are visitors themselves. Just watch the IPL go around. The other teams play 2 games after their very impressive start to the season against the Gujarat Titans, where Shreyas Iyer and co all look the part. So we build up to Lucknow versus Punjab on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. We've all had a nice long night of sleep and rest because that's what the Night Riders allowed for Nick Knight, who was at the Wankhede yesterday, Matt Roller, who was there as well, and Varun, Aaron and me. Felt like a T10 or 100 game yesterday because it was actually 40 balls shorter. It might have been less than that too. But in all seriousness, let me welcome Matt back. How was your experience at the Wankhede?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I always enjoy going down to the Wankhede. Went to a few games in the 23 season, and last time I was there was for that India-New Zealand World Cup semi-final in 2023, which was arguably the high point of that World Cup for India.
Yeah, that's where it ended. We don't see highlights after that. There are no highlights ever anywhere from after that Mumbai game. Anyway, that's...
They show them back home, but maybe...
okay, quiet now. Yeah, Lucknow is also where Nick Knight is headed next, if I'm accurate. No, you're going to Kolkata.
Kolkata.
All right. But we're all set to have you back. Good to have you back, Nick. And Varun, Aaron, Punjab is a story, isn't it? Because they've had 5-6 days off to think about what a cool start that was to the season. Is that a good thing or a bad thing to have such a big break after that win?
I don't think it's the best thing they could ask for, because when you have such a close game, and when you've pulled off almost a miracle towards the back end with the move of getting Vaishak in and the way he bowled, you would want to continue that momentum into the next game. But these are things which they can't control. I'm sure they're aware of that, and they would somehow try to take that momentum into this game as well.
All right. Now, the big question when Lucknow start playing games at home is what kind of venue is this going to be? Because we've seen everything in the 2 seasons that the Lucknow Super Giants have played at the Ekana Stadium. We've seen multiple soil pitches, which you've become a soil science expert on. So you've got all your notes there. Go on then.
Well, I think the reputation that it initially formed when it came into IPL as a venue was low scores and a lot of spin bowls. And if you aggregate the stats across 2023 and 2024, then it's the lowest scoring venue in the IPL.
Right.
The difference is, though, that there was actually quite a big change between the 23 and 24 seasons, in that the square was relayed before that World Cup. And the run rates spiked quite significantly by 1.6 runs per over between those two editions of the IPL. You can see it was still, relatively low scoring by the standards of the league, still only the 8th highest scoring venue across the country. But that is quite a significant change, and one of the reasons I think underpinning that is that there was quite a lot less spin bowled last year as well, or maybe there was less spin bowled because of the fact that the pitches were slightly different. You can see there it went from about 50-50 to 65-35 or thereabouts in terms of proportion of spin bowled. Lucknow obviously themselves changed the balance of their side a little bit, where Amit Mishra played a bit in 23 and not so much in 24. But it sounds like it's going to be a red soil pitch tonight with a bit of grass on there. And actually we have a guy sat just to my left who's a bit of a... He played it down when I asked him off air, but I've got my notes here. Jharkhand versus UP, December 2018. Varun Aaron, 5 for 64.
That was a long time ago.
How many overs?
24 overs in the game. First class game.
Yeah.
So how do you succeed at the Ekana, Varun?
I just bowled a lot of bounces because the wicket didn't have much in it at all, to be really honest. Like from the first innings onwards, it was a low and slow wicket, and that was like a must-win game for us that year. And I think I just bowled a lot of bounces. I remember even Raina was playing that game, so it was a long time ago.
I'm sure you bowled a bouncer to Raina.
For sure, first ball.
Okay, right. Because we're trying to understand what kind of surface we're expecting, I'm trying to think of whether Lucknow have a preference here. Looking at their team, we know it's filled with Indian pacers, and Shamar Joseph is not someone that they seem confident of playing. Their spinners are, of course, Ravi Bishnoi, and that's a start at least for a big main Indian spinner. Is there a strength to this Lucknow team and how they want to play at home?
Well, their strength for me is look at the batting. I mean, that really is their sort of power area. Markram hasn't scored yet, but I fully expect him still to stay in the side. And then you go Marsh, Pooran, Rishabh Pant, David Miller. I mean, they keep running off the tongue. So I think that that's their strength. So then you look at what sort of surface that you can provide for them. It's a flat pitch, or the flattest pitch you can provide. I really don't think for them they want a pitch that's going to stop and hold and make stroke making hard work, regardless of what attack they've got and regardless actually of who they're playing against. I think when you look at home conditions, you focus pretty much on your end of the court, if you like, a tennis, similarly, if you like. Look at what's happening your end. Don't worry too much about the opponents.
Yeah.
And look at the last game they played, guys. I mean, they played SRH on the flattest pitch in the world. And their bowlers, Prince Yadav and Avesh, a little expensive, and Shardul, they found a way of controlling probably the best side in those conditions. So take that as a bit of a mantra and work towards that if your home conditions. I don't know. I mean, there's a little bit of grass, isn't there? But whether that's going to make lateral movement or the ball coming on to the bat is going to be what we're going to have to wait and see.
I can tell you that the Kings have won the toss at Lucknow, and Shreyas Iyer has said that they're going to bowl first. So the pattern remains consistent with the exception of Pat Cummins in the afternoon game on Sunday, the only captain to bat first and win, although numbers are now reasonably even spread when it comes to batting first and second. First game, of course. Let's just confirm some team news for you as well, starting with the Lucknow Super Giants, who of course won their last game against the Sunrisers. It doesn't look like there are any changes there. So Markram, they're showing some faith in him and keeping him there, which would presumably mean that Rishabh Pant will continue to bat at 4 in what looks like an unchanged team. Varun?
I think it's a really good team. I think this team is going to work for them completely with Nick on this. The batting is really, really powerful. I think Badoni is going to have to come to the party because he's had a bit of a limp back end of last season and he's not even started well this season. And they're going to rely on Badoni and Samad if David Miller doesn't get going.
Okay. Interestingly, Punjab seem to have made a change, and it's an interesting one because Lockie Ferguson will play today. There you go. So Janssen and Ferguson are already there, and on the left-hand side you've got Stoinis and Maxwell. So no Azmatullah Omarzai. They've gone for out-and-out pace of Lockie Ferguson. I wonder if that tells us something about at least how Ricky Ponting and Shreyas Iyer are interpreting this surface at Lucknow.
Yeah, maybe it's the grass. Maybe there's enough grass on there to encourage them to say we need a little bit more pace. So Omar Azai I think is a terrific cricketer who's perhaps just underperformed a little bit generally, both in international cricket and franchise cricket. But he just gives you that little bit of balance. They feel clearly that they've got enough batting. They feel that they've got enough in the batting strength there to omit Omar Azai.
I wonder
I
if
quite like him in my side.
That's one. I wonder if there's a matchup that screams for the inclusion of Ferguson today.
I think the main thing that I was looking at was similar to Nick in terms of the fact that they had so much batting last time that they actually didn't fully use their resources, even though they got they obviously got a huge score, but they didn't need all of that batting depth in the end. And when you consider that that's a bowl first team, so you could bring a batter in potentially in there. How Wadera could come in off the bench, or I think
I'll look at one more time and see if there is room for Wadera. Just the Punjab team to just try and guess. This is the bowling first team which doesn't have Vaishak in it, he was key. He won them the game last time.
Yeah, but Vaishak came in as an impact option.
Right.
The other thing, what I feel is, obviously they might not need Omarzai for his batting because they've already got a lot of batsmen, even up till Shriyansh Shegde, who's a really, really good batter. But I think the one area where they lacked the previous game was the death bowling. So they had to really get on Vaishak because the others weren't going well. And Lockie Ferguson, I think, is their best bet at the death with Arshdeep Singh. So I think there's a bit of death bowling in play to get Lockie Ferguson in. Okay. But again, Omarzai, great cricketer. I would love him on my side.
Didn't he open the bowling, Omarzai, in the last game?
Yeah,
I think he did. And I remember thinking, didn't like that. So I think actually as a force change, Janssen and Arshdeep, which I think is a better option with the new ball. Yeah. So maybe they're going to benefit a little bit from that.
Ferguson's also not played a lot of late. You remember he missed the Champions Trophy with a hamstring niggle that he picked up at the ILT20. He got replaced by Jameson. So it'll be interesting to see. Clearly, Punjab think he's primed and ready to go if they're going to unleash him tonight. Yeah.
I'm actually very curious to see how they go about the use of their resources. The impact sub could likely now just be a batter outright. Harpreet Brar continues to miss out. It's quietly become one of the things where he was such a constant for them, but I guess today is not the day for left arm spin against
not at all the day.
Nicholas Pooran.
And Rishabh Pant.
and Rishabh Pant. Let's talk Pant, because he still hasn't hit the ground running or the IPL running, and then he's likely to stay at 4. Concerning?
I think he's got to stay at 4 in this team, the way it's set up, because Pant at the back end, yes, he can be really destructive up top in the first 6 overs, but even once if you remember his best seasons in Delhi, he was always batting towards the back end and winning them games there. It's just been 2 games. Nothing's lost in 2 games, but he's going to have to hit the ground running from this game onwards.
I think we dug up some numbers on false shot percentage, which are on screen now. Could you explain to novices like myself what that means, Matt?
I suppose it means balls that he faced of which he wasn't in full control as logged by our scorers. So it suggests that he's probably not at his best form if he's only getting a good contact on 57% of balls he faces. But we can also read too much into this. He's not faced too many balls full stop this season, has he? It's very early days.
Having an inviting smirk on his face.
Just chuckling away because I'm thinking, I'm so glad those sort of stats and numbers didn't come up in yesteryear. False shots, Nick Knight.
Really?
Yes, they've even got one. Haven't they even got one now with edge of the bat? Sometimes I've seen that as well, not the middle of the bat.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I'd seen that, and I was thinking, oh god, there's another one. But yeah, I mean, cool, it's pretty cruel, isn't it? Showing stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the question will remain until he scores some runs, Rishabh Pant. I mean, I'm one of his biggest fans. Just before we came on here, I've got to tell our viewers, just before we came on, we had to do a little thing for social media. Rishabh Pant or Shreyas Iyer, who's going to have the better season? I have to say I stand alone because my 3 friends here all said Shreyas Iyer. I said Rishabh Pant because I think, okay, we're only 2 games in, but I think he's got so much ability, so much talent. The false shot section, I just wonder is, watch the ball a little closer. I say the same about Yashasvi Jaiswal. Sometimes in one-day cricket, and I've done it myself, you start thinking about where the ball's going to go before it's bowled. You start thinking about areas you're going to hit before the bowler's bowled. You get a little bit ahead of yourself, and when you do that, sometimes you don't actually watch the ball onto the bat or watch the ball really closely because you're just one step too far ahead. If you just bring it back a little bit, I mean, that dismissal in the last game, Rishabh Pant, I mean, it's a bit of a freak dismissal. He didn't really see it, and it was a kind of full toss that ended up somehow going to short third. It's little moments like that. If you can try and watch the ball really, really closely, your form and your timing can just come back.
Yeah, do you sense bowlers would actually fancy bowling to Pant given his recent IPL form? We're almost expecting him to play the wrong shot, if I can simplify it. Raidu said this, I think, on the panel here previously, that his shot selection is perhaps his biggest challenge here. He's got so many shots of the same ball to hit for 6 that most of the times he's actually picking the wrong one. Bowlers would fancy bowling to him?
I mean, if Nick's prediction is right, I don't think they'll be fancy bowling to him after tonight because Nick said he's going to get 88 precisely.
Wouldn't it be weird?
Yeah.
So I mean, look, Pant, an informed Pant, no bowler wants to bowl to Pant because he can hit the same ball to 3 different parts of the ground. So I think it's just 2 games. Again, shouldn't read too much into it. I think Pant's gonna get some serious runs this year.
Well, we could also focus on the opposition batting today, even though that's later. They're going to be bowling first Punjab Kings. But, they have really sent us more than a statement of how they plan to bat, what the identity of this batting lineup is when they scored 240 plus against the Gujarat Titans, and they just nailed it. From Priyansh Arya to Shashank Singh and Shreyas in the middle. I wonder if that is something that is likely to be consistent and repeated, because we've seen Sunrisers one game and them the next, KKR one game and them the next. So what can we take from Punjab's batting?
Well, they're clearly going to be an aggressive side. I think the thing that really stood out in that first game was that they made such a big total, despite the fact their overseas players didn't contribute a whole lot. A lot of those scores, obviously Shreyas leading from the front, but then their uncapped Indian players did really well as well in Shashank Singh, Priyansh Arya. As Varun says, I think there's big raps on Shedgir in the lower middle order after his form from Mumbai. So it looks like those guys are going to be empowered across the season to play that fearless template that Ponting's going for. And if they get on another good surface, they're going to be a really tough team to stop, I think. Now
we come to bowling plans, I guess, because we've seen what Punjab are likely to come with, similar to the Sunrisers. So what are ways to counter? Let me start with an individual batter in Shreyas Iyer, who seems to be in the form of his life.
Look, you've got to bowl good balls. I think where teams are going for runs is when they're going too defensive too early. Like I feel when new batsman comes in, you've got to attack his stumps. You've got to maybe slip the odd bouncer into Shreyas Iyer, but not overdo a plan. I think teams have started overdoing the short ball plan, and he's kind of understood, okay, teams are going to do this. He sits back, waits, and then he's a good player who can also cut the ball. Now his short ball ability has improved a lot. So you just don't make plans too obvious and try to get him out early, not go too defensive, I would say.
I'd be interested to get your views on this. I feel a little bit for bowlers these days in T20 cricket. The amount of times they play on flat surfaces, and I use the word bowling machine, so they don't really have anything to work with. So naturally they go to variations very quickly. And it just almost one ball, you say bowl your best ball, it's almost like they bowl their best ball, that might get hit for 4, so now it's time for variations. We actually saw a really good example of it last night, Harshit Rana, on a pitch that's doing plenty. First over, even to Rohit there, he was going cutter, full ball, Yorker, into the pitch. Almost playing to type, when actually the surface just required you to hit a little bit with that with Shreyas. Just, if you feel your best ball is the one to keep bowling it.
100%.
You know, bowlers are almost forced into, or feeling like they feel they have to make a change because that's what they've done over a period of time.
I completely agree with Nick. It's about timing, and it's about assessing the conditions, and when the batsmen come in, you got to try to attack. I see a lot of bowlers, first ball to a new batsman, going slow ball, you know. I mean, if he's going to hit you for 6 of your best ball, in the first ball he's batting, best luck to him, you know.
Yeah,
but at least bowl your best ball, which is obviously not a slow ball, unless you're Harshit Patel.
I think Harshit did that yesterday, Harshit Rana.
He overdid the variations last night.
Right, that's an example. What we did see from Punjab in the last game was great conversation. I mean, it led to great conversation about reverse tail, as you like to call it, the distinction. And James Hopes has actually spoken on it, of course, is Ricky Ponting's trusted confidant and is now the assistant coach of the Punjab Kings. He's with him at the Delhi Capitals, and he addressed this point ahead of this game. Got a little bit of swing in the last game against GT. That came at the expense of getting a dry ball as well, because we didn't change our ball, and that probably affected Yuzvendra Chahal a little bit. It's fascinating in terms of the tactical thoughts that go into, shall we change it? We're getting a bit of reverse, and we have the bowlers to exploit it. And Punjab, are they set up to perhaps be a team that can use that more often at different venues?
I think it's fine if Yuzi doesn't get the driest ball in his last over, as long as, I'm just giving an example, as long as somebody like Vaishak can come in and fire it outside off stump and know that the ball is going to tail away that way, away from the batsman rather than go straight. So even the way Puran got bowled the other night, Stark, again, a bit of tail, that just 1 degree of movement can make a huge difference in the last 4 overs. Yeah. So I would go tail to a dry ball.
It's also got, I guess, the dugout more involved and active in these decisions. I think Hope said that it'll go one game to the next. When do we change? When do we think Chahal's our bigger threat? It adds a new dimension this year to the IPL.
Absolutely, and I think the other interesting bit is the sort of the tactical question of, do you double down on what you think your strength might be? If that's Chahal, they've obviously invested a lot in him at the auction. He's their frontline spinner. He's the guy they're going to look to take wickets. Do they then, double down on him and say, we're going to give you the driest ball possible and give you the best possible conditions for you to bowl with? Or do you try and help maybe someone like Vaishak in that situation as the uncapped fast bowler at the death and try and give him the assistance of that little extra ingredient, whatever it might be, and that was reversed in that game.
What I'd sort of balance out here is, even though they won that game and it was brilliant from Vaishak to keep the Titans quiet, they still conceded 230. And as we just look at the returns in one game, yes, it's one game, but if we just look at what looks a strong bowling lineup, Nick, and we've discussed the Gujarat Titans, we just discussed RCB previewing tomorrow's game a little while back, but outside of Arshdeep Singh, Omar Shah is not playing today, but Marco Jansen, Maxwell Stoinis and Vaishak, who also will not feature today, Lockie Ferguson is in. Does that look like a strong enough, or at least a bowling attack that covers all bases?
It goes back to exactly what surface you're playing on. If you're playing on a flat pitch that's not turning, no. Simple answer, no. That is not an attack that's going to scare people. If you're playing on a pitch that is holding a little bit and is a bit dry and is offering a bit of assistance to your cutters and is offering a little bit of assistance to your spin, that's a pretty damn good side. So it a little bit depends on what conditions that bowling unit is going to be bowling on.
I'm just trying to think of whether you're going to be relying on Stoinis and Maxwell to bowl 4 every
but you see, you might well be, and that's why you need a little bit of assistance from the pitch. If you play on a flat belter at Hyderabad, I'm sorry, you're thinking, of quite like this attack
And
because the ball's going to come on and you can use it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they've gotten Lockie Ferguson, I feel, because they want to play a fast bowler apart from Arshdeep and Jansen, who they can bank on him bowling 4 overs. And especially with cutters, again, Lockie Ferguson's cutters are really, really good. So he does offer them more with the ball than Omarzai, and they don't need the batting.
I mean, they've actually made this as a bowling first 11, which we're getting to see for the first time, and we try and analyze the use of their impact subs each franchise. They've left out Omarzai, and they're not playing Vaishak, which means you've effectively got one bowler with 2 in place of 2. And I'm thinking today also, you will need Stoinis and Maxwell to bowl 4 overs. And do every team sort of set up that way?
Yeah, it is actually quite a significant change, isn't it, when you spell it out like that? They obviously left that decision quite late with the impact player, and it seemed like they wanted to go with, or sort of their plan A maybe was to go with Bra as the impact sub, but then obviously with how that game played out and with GT subbing in a left-hander in Rutherford, they went for a different option. I suppose they could make an impact sub in the first innings, but it feels unlikely, doesn't it? That's not something we've seen a lot of.
The other thing Lockie Ferguson offers, especially against somebody like Puran, is going across him.
That's the only thing I'm coming to. This is a Puran point decision, a single point decision, because I'm 100%. Sure any team coming to Lucknow, playing Lucknow now thinking, what's our best bet to get Puran?
I think Lockie Ferguson is their best bet because his natural delivery is leaving the left-hander, and we all know that Puran, if there's anything where he's a bit susceptible, is that ball leaving him. And Lockie Ferguson, that's his natural ball.
This is fascinating actually, because if Puran can continue any kind of form that we've seen, what a start he's had, Nick Knight, to the season. He seems someone who's just in a different zone, playing on a different planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to watch. I mean, not great for the bowlers to have to deal with it, but he's been fantastic. And playing proper cricket shots as well. It's an attractive watch, isn't it? It's someone that looks completely in control of their game, not someone who's losing their shape and slogging it, having a bit of luck, no control. It's very composed. Good luck. I mean, you're absolutely right, guys. I'm sure that sides are doing that. They're looking at how do you knock over Nicholas Pooran early. I mean, that's the change with Pooran, because it used to be Pooran at 5 and 6. Now it's Pooran at 3.
Which brings it the other way. If they lose an early wicket, Markram's form has been a bit indifferent, and Pooran walks in at 3. Lockie Ferguson doesn't bowl a lot of his overs in the power play.
Well, that said as well, with Varun saying maybe you'd want a ball that leaves them naturally, I think the 2 left armers and Arshdeep and Jansen again could be quite good. So I think early wickets could be massive in this game if you can go Jansen and Arshdeep to start and then Ferguson to close out the power play potentially at the end. That does look like an attack that might be better suited than some to coming up against Nicholas Pooran. But then heading into the middle, Pooran's got a really good head-to-head against Yuzi Chahal.
We're getting tactical here, aren't we?
I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to think about who will get Pooran or how Pooran will get out. We'll play a game. It'll be called just the Pooran game. How do you sense he'll get out today? Close your eyes and visualize, and eventually it might lead to Glenn Maxwell bowling something which is straight up.
What we're doing here, though, we've got to be a bit careful. What we're doing here, and I've been in a team where we've done this, and you're playing against a gun player in good form, is you focus too much on that one player.
Right.
And actually, at the end of the game, we're all going, well, what about Badoni at 6? No one talked about him. No one really spoke about how you can bowl to him. So there's a bit of a balance here for sides playing against LSG, that you have an awareness of Nicholas Pooran and what might happen. Mitch Marsh is saying, but don't forget the other players, because Nicholas Pooran can't score 50 and 100 every single game.
Yeah, it's the Messi effect. You focus on Messi, Di Maria scores a goal.
The Messi with an I, Messi effect. Right, that is the numbers for the big matchup that Matt Rollos teased right now. 167 the strike rate for Pooran against Yuzvendra Chahal. So we keep an eye on how that goes.
And by the way, that's the only time he's got out to a leg spinner in T20 cricket.
Is that true?
Yes. Wow. He has a strike rate of above 200 against leg spin, and he's just been out once to leg spin.
It could have been twice, but for Samir Rizvi, who put down a catch of that poor Vipraj Nigam the other day.
This is, as we sort of hint at, it's one of these typical ones where we discuss these tactics about Pooran. It'll be something like run out from deep cover. It'll be some random fluke tonight.
Stop spoiling this segment I've just introduced and made up on the fly. I will do this every Lucknow game I'm at. How will Pooran get out? And I think it'll be fun, wouldn't it? But for now, let's focus, as Nick Knight rightly points out, on the others, the openers, Aiden Markram, Mitchell Marsh, on Arshdeep Singh and Marco Jansen, 2 left-armers who perhaps will take the new ball. Not too many franchises have that luxury. Let's break down our Maruti Suzuki Arena presents Power Play Conversations. Okay, 2 left-armers likely to take the new ball. Mitch Marsh in good form, Aiden Markram not in. How do we see this going tactically, and how do you see who wins this battle in the power play?
It's a great battle because Mitch Marsh, we all know, is a bit susceptible when the ball's coming into him. He gets LBW a lot. So if Arshdeep gets it to hoop around off stump, brings it back to middle, that's a great option. Jansen, somehow he's not been getting the same shape like he sometimes get, but you never know with Jansen. It's you can get like a crazy night of bowling from Jansen any day. So it could be Jansen's day. He's one of those bowlers who can just pick up 4 wickets on a given day. But I would totally back the bowlers against Mitchell Marsh tonight.
I don't know. There exists a Markram versus Jansen matchup. Did they play together at the SH20 Sunrisers, Eastern Cape there as well? So that doesn't exist. Maybe we'll see that for the first time. But anyway, Aiden Markram short of runs. 2 left-armers against.
It's a cruel game, isn't it? I mean, he's what, a couple of games?
That's enough in the IPL. They get dropped after a couple of games.
Crikey, I mean, he can turn it around pretty quickly. He's a damn good player. I mean, he's a really good player, a top player. Just a couple of poor games. So that's my point, really. You know, you tend to focus on Nicholas Pooran. Don't forget some of these other guys who've got a great game and they can offer lots on an evening like this. I think he's developed actually a lot, Aiden Markram, from playing in the IPL over years and years. His game against spin has developed markedly. Quite mechanical when he first came into international cricket as an opener. Very sort of, very sort of upright and played to the fielders a little bit now. Now his game has become much more adept at working around. Picks spin up, picks up length pretty well. So good player. Yeah. I like Arshdeep. I think Arshdeep's going to be a real problem for LSG because I think he's really clever. I think he's got a great bowling craft. I know he's got the swing and the ability technically, but I think of all the bowlers that I see regularly in T20 cricket, I think he's got an ability to, like his short ball, right? I think his short ball is not quick. It's not quick. But he seems to hurry batsmen. So why does he hurry batters with the short ball? Because they're not expecting it. And I think he's got that ability.
He did that to Salt, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got that ability to bowl the ball the batter's not expecting.
Do you like the numbers on screen, by the way? Mitch Marsh strikes at 244 against Arshdeep Singh. 3 innings, 39 runs, 1 dismissal. That's not a lot of runs, though.
A small sample size, but I think more generally I like the way Marsh has set up this year. He's been up and down the order a lot in IPL historically. He's played for several different franchises over a long period of time, but I think this might be the year where he gets a long run as an opener. He's playing under a coach he's played under a lot in Justin Langer, and he's looked really good so far this year. I'm just thinking with the 2 left-armers of that pickup shot. He played first ball off Mitch Starc in their opening game. And I think could be fireworks.
He's also married now, so that's done. He doesn't have to leave midway, and then not sure if he's coming back, because that's what happened last year. So that's
and he doesn't have to worry about bowling.
Oh, that's a dream.
He said in interviews, I spoke to him after that game. I said, how's it going? Not bowling, because I'm living the dream. Finally living the dream.
I mean, these are these Aussies, some of them just love not fielding, and they're so good at it. Travis Head. Travis Head could take a match-changing catch. He'd much rather just chill on the dugout and be subbed out, not to mention his very handy off spin, but that's for another day. For now, Punjab Kings have taken the field. The Lucknow openers are out there. So let me get predictions as well as the question I asked on Pooran. Let me help you with ESPN Cricket Info's forecaster, which at this moment is still waiting to hear from you. Then it will decide. So let's go. First inning scores, please. Nick Knight.
Oh, God, it's virtually impossible. We haven't even seen the pitch.
Okay, fine. Matt Roller. I'll come to you.
You're in India. You're supposed to be an astrologist.
I haven't even seen the pitch.
Okay, I'll give you a ball, right? Until then, tell me how do you think Pooran?
Let us see the pitch first.
Oh, you guys want all the info. Look at Matt and me now, having never played a game worth any decency in our life, and we'll tell you immediately. Matt.
Let's go 180, and Pooran's dismissal will be caught long on off Marcus Stoinis.
Caught long on of Marcus Stoinis. Christ. Okay, Varun Aaron.
I think I'm going to say 195 and Pooran's going to unusually get out to UC Chahal today.
Okay, Chahal gets Pooran for the second time.
Yeah.
Forecaster says 180, by the way.
I'm going to go a bit under that.
Yeah.
The first ball I've seen has kept a bit low.
Right.
So I'm just going to make a massive statement, having to see one ball that's going to be perhaps not as quick as we thought. So I'm going to go 174.
174, and Pooran to be dismissed.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rishabh Pant to have a really good game. I'm not.
You're not calling how Pooran will get out.
He'll have a good game because
He won't get out. He'll be 100 not out or something.
But I'm going to go for Rishabh Pant having a good game.
Very well. I'll take what I get from Nick Knight. I will.
Sorry.
I will lowball further. I think there'll be a 150.
Wow.
150. So because Punjab will do really well and Pooran will be dismissed nice and early by Glenn Maxwell.
Wow.
Sticking with it. And on that note, let's pick up the conversation at the end of what promises to be a very interesting Lucknow Super Giants innings in their first home game. Join us for the chat on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.